Hey everybody, thanks for joining us for another episode of For the Love of Food. I'm your host, Cathy Braner, and today I'm dedicating this show to my son Kevin, who is a graduating senior at Naperville North High School. Kevin had his last day of school yesterday and should have been graduating on Monday evening, but that has been rescheduled to July. So Kevin, this is a shout out to you. Today I'm wearing a Hot Rockets t-shirt. Kevin was in the instrumental combo that played behind the show choir for 4 years. He was also in the jazz groups at Naperville North. And I asked Kevin, so which t-shirt would you like me to wear for the show today? And he had an idea of layering all three shirts. Sounded good, but decided to skip that. So just wanted to also shout out to Kevin's hockey team, Naperville North hockey team. He was a goalie there for 4 years and also 4 years on the Naperville North golf team. So thanks, Kevin, for 4 years of fun. You worked really hard, and I love the person you've become. So on to our show. Today we're making paninis, and this is a nod to buffalo chicken wings. So let me go ahead and get started. I'm going to take my bread, and I'm going to first butter my bread. I am using, I like to call it panini bread, but you'll see the slices are fairly thin, and it's nice, long, and oval like a panini. I'm using Trader Joe's Tuscan Pain for these. This is what I use. It's nice. You could even keep this in the freezer, and then anytime you want paninis, just take it out, let the slices thaw. So that's what I'm using today. There's other types of Italian bread you can use. I'm going to start by just buttering each side of the bread. So I have some softened butter here, and I'm going to go ahead and just spread some butter. This is going to give us the nice crispy outsides that you are familiar with a panini. Now, I've never tried this, but one of these days I'm going to try it. I've read a lot about using mayonnaise instead of butter on the outside of paninis or grilled cheeses. So one of these days I'm going to try it. But today we're just using butter. I did let this butter sit out for a while, so you'll see how nice and soft it is, and it spreads really easily. So we've got our last slice that we'll go ahead and butter up, and then we'll start with our cheese. So I'm going to use a combination of cheeses today. I'm going to start with pepper jack cheese, and I'm going to take one side of my bread, and I'm going to use sliced pepper jack to start with. If you have shredded pepper jack, feel free to use that. If you have a block of pepper jack, you can also shred that. So whatever version of pepper jack you have, go ahead and use. So I'm going to put a layer on the bottom side, and then with a little twist for the buffalo chicken wings, I'm going to take some blue cheese, and I'm just going to crumble. I have a wedge of blue cheese. I'm just going to crumble some blue cheese on top of the pepper jack to give it that blue cheese tang. This blue cheese I bought at Trader Joe's, and this is a deal. This whole little wedge was only $1.98. If you have a Trader Joe's and if you haven't checked out their cheese section, I would highly recommend it. So that's our bottom layer with our cheese. Let's move on to our chicken. So I have 1 pound of boneless, skinless chicken breasts, and I cooked these ahead of time. I took a pot of water and I put the 2 chicken breasts in the water, and just make sure that your water is a couple inches above your chicken breast when it's in the pot, and then turn it on to medium heat. Let it come to a real high simmer, and as soon as it comes to a simmer, turn it down a little bit and let those chicken breasts just cook in that water for about 15 minutes. You just want to make sure that they're thoroughly cooked inside. Once they're done, you're going to let them cool for a little bit, and then I literally take the chicken breasts and I just, with my hands, shred them so that you get this consistency of shredded chicken, okay? So just plain chicken. I didn't do anything else with it, but I'm going to go ahead and now toss it with buffalo wing sauce. I like Frank's Red Hot Wing Sauce. This is the buffalo flavor of the sauce. So this is something that it's totally your preference. I'm going to just start pouring in some of the sauce.
Never too much.
Yeah, give it a little mix. Like I said, it's totally your call. You just want to make sure that all of that chicken is coated in the sauce.
By the way, Colleen Stein is saying hello in Tampa.
Hi, Colleen. It's good to hear from you. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to do a little bit more. Dave's given a thumbs up on the more buffalo sauce. So what I love about these paninis is it's a good lunch, or if you need a quick dinner time meal, they're easy to make for that too. So there's our chicken tossed in our buffalo sauce, and I'm just going to go ahead and start piling on my chicken.
Colleen says, love your show.
Thank you, Colleen. Okay, so it's up to you on just how full you want to make them, but I think that's good for now. And then I'm going to do another layer of pepper jack on the outside. So this way you've got cheese on both sides of the bread, which will really have a nice melt. So there we go. We have one of our sandwiches ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on our panini press. I'm using a panini press, but you do not have to use a panini press. If you don't have a panini press, you can just take a skillet and you can do these on top of the stove. If you want to get the, pressure that a panini press would do, you could take a cast iron skillet and you could set it on top of your sandwich. You could even put a couple cans of beans on top of the cast iron to give it some weight. So that's all you're going to do is put it on top of the stove. And if you have a grill pan, you can even put it on the grill pan first, and that will give you those nice little wedges. So we're going to let that cook for a little bit, and I'm going to flip it at some point. And now I'm going to move on to our coleslaw. So I think coleslaw is a really nice side dish to serve during this pandemic. Cabbage is one of those vegetables that lasts really long in the fridge. So it's a really nice side dish that you can just make pretty easily. I only have a few ingredients to make the dressing for this coleslaw. I have a half a cup of mayonnaise that I'm going to start with. So we'll just put that in a bowl. And then I have a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. So we'll just add that in. And I have a half a tablespoon of Dijon mustard. And I'm going to take a little bit of salt, and probably about a quarter teaspoon, but we'll sprinkle a little salt in there.
Getting a hello from Pat Gillis in
Hi,
Pennsylvania.
Pat Gillis. I miss you. So we're going to go ahead and just give this a little stir. You can whisk it if you prefer. So that's really pretty simple for this coleslaw. You've got your mayonnaise, your apple cider vinegar, your Dijon, and the only last thing I'm going to do is add in some celery seed. So we'll just sprinkle some celery seed in. It's up to you how much you'd like. And there we go. We've got our dressing for our coleslaw. If you wanted to, you could even make this ahead of time and just store it in the fridge. And if you make a larger quantity, you might want to have coleslaw a few times or a couple times during the week. Make your dressing, and then you can just shred whatever quantity of cabbage you want. So I'm going to take a peek at our panini, and you can see we have some good cheese ooze happening. I'm going to give it a little flip, and we'll go ahead and let it go for a little bit more.
Dodie is saying hi from Antioch.
Hi, Dodie. Okay, so let's move on to the rest of our coleslaw while that finishes up. I have some shredded cabbage here, and there's many ways you can shred your cabbage. You can use your box grater. I'm not a real fan of the really, really fine cabbage, so I literally take my knife and I just try to do really thin slices of it. So that's what I did. I just took my knife. If you have a food processor with the grater blade, you can also put it in there, but I kind of find chopping therapeutic, so I don't mind just doing a chop like that. So I like to get it fairly thin. So that's our cabbage. We're gonna take one more look at our panini. What do you think, Dave? Dave likes his things a little on the darker side. Do you want it a little bit more than that, or does that look good?
That's fine.
Okay, so there's our panini. We're gonna go ahead and take this off the panini press. We're gonna let that cool for a minute before we actually start to cut into it so we can see the gooiness of the cheese. I also like to add some carrots to my coleslaw, so I am gonna use the large holes on this grater. This is just a really simple flat grater, and I'm just gonna go straight into my cabbage. And once again, it's up to you how many carrots you'd like to put into it, but I like the color that it gives, and I also like the flavor. I'm a big carrot person. So you're just gonna go ahead and grate as much carrot as you'd like into here. You could also, cut these in smaller slices if you prefer, but I kind of like the similar texture to the cabbage. Okay, so we'll just do a little bit more. Like I said, it's totally up to you on the quantity that you'd like. All right, now we're just going to take our dressing and we're going to just toss it in there. You could totally adjust the volume of the dressing and the cabbage. If you really only need enough for 2 people, you can go ahead and just make half of a batch. So we're just gonna toss that. And as it sits, your cabbage is going to become, a little bit more tender. So I do like to make it and let it sit in that dressing for a little bit. And there we have it. So that's really, really pretty quick. And like I said, cabbage is a great vegetable for this time when you're probably not going to the grocery store as often as you might have been. And it's really good for you too. So you've got that added component. So I'm gonna go ahead and just put a little bit of cabbage coleslaw in our bowl. And we'll just make up a little plate of our coleslaw.
Katie Hope says hi.
Hi, Katie. Go Huskies. All right, let's go back to our panini now that it's cooled for a little bit. And we're gonna take a look at how that cheese looks on the inside. So I'm just gonna give it a little cut. And there you have it. You've got all that nice cheese oozing out. And we'll just go ahead and plate up our little combo of our coleslaw side with our panini. I'm gonna go ahead and give us a little taste as I step over Argo.
There's Argo. Say Argo. Hey, everybody.
Yeah, see, this is where I love putting that cheese on both sides because you get really nice melt on the cheese. So really yummy. Nice little spice from that buffalo sauce. Like the blue cheese in there too. And then we'll give our coleslaw a taste. Very good. Love the carrots. Thank you for joining us today. I want to wish all of the high school students, the seniors, whether they're Naperville North or anywhere in the United States, congratulations on your graduation. Your resilience and your perseverance through this pandemic is inspiring to all of us. So until next time, be safe. Bye-bye.